Hey y'all, it's me. I've been messing around outside for a little while today and for the last couple of days, so I thought, I'll just bring you guys along. Let me show you what's going on. Okay, the beds, it's time to get them cleaned out. You can see I've pulled all the tall weeds and all the tall flowers, and yes, they were done. They had been beautiful all summer long. This little guy here is getting ready to move. Aaron and Corey had bought several roses, but the roses are going to go all down in this little bed down here because all of these other beds are getting ready to be an herb and kitchen garden. That was a plan a couple of years ago when we first moved back up to the big house. But anyway, these beds were finished. You can see there was some mums hiding in amongst all the whatever those are, I can't remember. So I'm going to leave those here, and when Aaron comes next, we'll probably just leave them over here where the roses are going to be. That's the old-fashioned rose. That rose right there is the yellow rose of Texas, and he said that the tale is, anyway, that it has been on this piece of property for a couple hundred years. It has been moved a couple of times. It's very hardy. Believe me, it grows underground big time. And you can see I've got all of these sunflowers. They are getting ready to have the heads cut off and put in pillowcases, and I'll hang it down in the little building and just toss those in for the chickens a little bit along, and they will enjoy picking these sunflowers clear. I'm going to do that with all the sunflowers we have left in the other gardens as well. But they were beautiful, but now they're done. There is one, well, there's a few little zinnias in here, but this one I'm going to leave. It's way out here on the edge, so it's, I guess I'll support it with a tobacco stake. But is that not just a gorgeous flower? I'm not sure what it is. I'm kind of thinking that it's some type of dahlia. But anyway, Aaron and Corey can tell me because they're the ones that planted it. But that one, if it is a perennial, maybe we'll just stick it back against the house right there and just leave it. And you can see there's still some tomato vines that were buried. They had a little bit of everything in these gardens, including there's some walnut trees. Walnut trees always find a place to grow. A lot of weeds, but weeds take over very, very quickly. But it was really pretty. What they did was really pretty. I'm just a bit more of a traditionalist, so I'm going to just get everything out that everything in here, I think most everything is annuals anyway, and it's time for them to come out. The perennials, we'll just find a nice little spot probably in this bed for them. And then everything else, like I said, is going to be a kitchen garden. And I am saving the hollyhock seed, because if you remember, those were absolutely a gorgeous color of pink, just a really, really soft pink. Pops has been out here helping me today. Say hi, Pops.
Hello, everybody.
Bless his heart.
I guess we're trying to get an early start on next year.
Yeah, there's a tomato, a green tomato. It was hidden. It was hidden in all the big stuff. But anyway, yeah, it's just a job. If you'll leave my sunflowers, I'm going to cut the heads.
Leave the sunflower.
Yeah, I'll cut the heads off, then we can take the stalks. All this stuff is going over to the compost bin. Pop's been turning the compost bins for me today. But let me tell you some of the ideas I have. And Pops was reminding me this morning, he said, I don't know where you're going to find the time for all this. And he is right. The time frame, I don't have a time frame. I mean, some of these things might be a couple of years out, and that's okay. That's okay. It's just still something fun to think about. These old porches are just, they're sad. they're sad. They need lots of work on them. And these steps right here, for some reason, I don't know why they built them that way, but what I'm going to do, and y'all, my daddy was a stone and brick and block concrete mason, so I do know how to do these things. I'm going to bring the steps over to the edge of these little stone walls, and you can see where that first step actually is the same level as the porch. Oh, Pop's found a tomato. He's going to eat. Michaela used to call him a bomato. But anyway, so really there only needs to be 2 steps right there. So there'll be 2 steps the height that they need to be. You know, a step coming down to this point, and then a step coming down almost level with that, but it'll be just a little bit higher. But that will widen the steps out considerably. Now, yeah, it will be not a trip hazard, because probably I'll have potted plants up the edges of the steps over there and over here there, just because it's what I like. And these railings, everything's coming down. There will be new supports. The supports will be further apart right here at the porch because the steps will be wider. But and then there'll be a support there at the end, and a support over here where this one is buckling actually. And then right in the center, instead of the railings going around, we're going to have let me see, a 4x6 post going up and a 4x6 post going up over there, and they will be notched all the way up on both sides, like one side and then the other side, probably about a foot apart. And there'll be a little shelf set in, a little shelf that will come around in front of the post itself, and it will have a little wooden support at the bottom, and that will go almost all the way up to the top. That will be for plants to set on, for potted plants to set on. I had something like that in Canton when we lived over in Canton for my mom. We had I think I've told you some about this at some point. But we had a big front porch over there, and the outside edge was curved. And my mom she was a plant person. And it broke my heart for her when she reached the point that she really couldn't get out in her yard, and which was our backyard, because she lived in a downstairs apartment. But when she moved upstairs, she had reached the point where she couldn't really stand up for long and couldn't do the things that she wanted to be able to do. So Hugh and I, we built a railing all the way around that porch, and we put these little plant shelves inside and out because it got the sun from both sides. And I'm looking for a tool. Hold on just a second. There it is. All right. Back here in my corner. Eventually, I'll have a piece of wood all the way along the walls to hang the tools on. They'll be easier to access. But anyway, she had probably 100, at least 100, I'm saying, planted plants. Everything from vegetables to flowers on that wall. And it was so pretty. And my mom loved it, because when she lived in Michigan, let me open this gate for Huey. It might get loud for just a minute. Hold on. Need to keep the chickens inside. And there's Ferdinand. See where he's been putting the mulch in, or the weeds into the compost all day. He'll cover all that over with manure in a little while, and I'll dampen it. Oh, bless. The goldenrod's got him. At you. Bless you. All right, chickens. Nope. You move. You move. There's Stinky. He's a bugger. Hold on a minute. I use this this big orange snow shovel to keep them scared back down in there. Because otherwise they'll come over and poop on my porch. That's what they do. We have them mostly contained. There's still times, no, you go on, mama, go on, and you go on too, George. I scared him, bless. Well, apparently he is moving some compost over. Oh, I know what he's doing. He's moving the compost over from bin 1 and putting on top of it in bin 2. I kind of fussed at him because I said, Pops, you do realize that bin 1's supposed to be moved over to bin 2, and then you're supposed to put all the new stuff in bin 1. Oh well, it didn't happen that way this time. But look at that, even out of bin 1, it looks like absolutely gorgeous compost. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, I worry about the chickens too, guys. But they always seem to get out of the way. I think they can feel the vibration of the tractor tires, even if they're, even if they've gotten used to the sound. So they usually scurry out of the way. I haven't lost any to the tractors yet. Hopefully never. He's taking too much time. Might end up making him open and close his own gate. Hey, Ferdinand. Look at that beautiful boy. And of course, his feathers are all gone. And it's sad, but he's still a beauty. He is still a beauty. He's preening himself right now. When he sets up on top of the house, it just looks a little sad because that big plume of tail feathers. No, mama. Go on. Go on, fluffy butt. But that big plume of tail feathers, when it's not just hanging down behind him and him up there on top of the house, it's just kind of sad. But they'll be back this spring, more beautiful than ever. No, you're not coming out here. Go on, mama. Go on. Look, Ferdinand's he's chasing a bug or a feather or something. Go on, mama. That was loud. Sorry about that. There's a lot of noise on a little farm. Squeaky gates, loud critters, and very, very loud tractors. Alright, here we'll get my tool. Alright, what we're going to do up here for the winter, once I get all these beds ready, we're going to just pile these sidewalks full of our wood. But the beds themselves, when I get them cleaned out, Hugh's going to bring me some of that nice rich compost out of the third compost bin. And we're going to fill these up to within probably about an inch of the top. And then downstairs, I don't know if some of you might remember the black woven fabric, the gardening fabric that we had attempted to use over in the garden. The problem over there is that it was just too rough, and because there was clods and there was bumps and everything, it kept everything raised up so that there was too much light going underneath of that black cloth. Well, in here, once he gets my compost put in, I'm going to take my garden rake and I'm going to rake it down just as smooth as possible I'm going to lay that black fabric on top, and it's woven so the water can go through. And I'm going to leave it there all winter. And that's one of the reasons I'm getting, this early of a start, because some of these plants were still pretty. They could have looked nice for another few weeks, another month or so. Okay. I thought he was about to lose his little pitchfork. But I need to get everything out of here so that there's still enough hot days to kill the weeds. And so by getting this cleaned out, getting the fresh compost in there, getting the black fabric down. Huh? Well, come here and tell him about it. He's going to talk about this rock back here. There's Michaela's school. I got to move this. She is in Milligan, down in Elizabethton, whatever that is, in Tennessee somewhere. Some of y'all will know which school it is. But anyway, we'll put it over here. Once I get my beds made, we'll put it over here. But tell them about this rock, Pops.
Well, I don't know any explanation for it, but I dug it up out of a spring back here behind the house when we were ditching a spring out many years ago. I dug it out, and we just thought it was interesting, and my mother wanted it put in a flower bed. So there it is. Now, what made the grooves or stuff, I don't know. You hear speculation about Indians carving rocks. You hear speculation about Ice Age. I don't know whether it was natural or man-made, and it doesn't matter. I just thought it was an interesting rock, so we put it in the flower bed for my mother years ago.
Mm-hmm. Go over there and stand by it if you don't mind, so they can get a perspective. Now
it's a big rock.
It's a big rock.
This rock probably weighs 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And I moved it with a backhoe, so
mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I don't think you could move it by hand.
It is a big rock.
Not even in my days when I was really strong, I don't think I could even turned it over, let alone moved it.
No, that's a big rock. And that rose behind it, I put that rose. Hugh and I had given that rose to his mother, probably about 5 or 6 years ago for her birthday or Mother's Day or something. And it was originally over on that side of the house, but when we did away with those flower beds on that side of the house, and I moved it over here. It's kind of in a bad spot because it does not get full sun all day. So that one will probably dig up and go down here with the rest of the roses as well. But anyway, so what I was saying, compost, after all the weeds are out, the compost will go in, leveled off really nicely. The black fabric will go on, and there will be still some hot days left of the summer and fall to kind of start killing the weeds that are in there. And then this spring, I think I'll probably leave the fabric, and I'll cut holes in the fabric to put my plants in, and then I'll just mulch the top really nice and heavy. But that's the plan for all of these beds up here. Except for that bed down there by the well house, it will be mostly just decorative perennials. And he's starting again with the weed eater. But anyway, I didn't bring my tool up here anyway, did I? Yeah, I did. All right, this pitchfork, it's a heavy duty pitchfork. Let me show you how I use it actually. And it works really nicely because this ground is fairly soft. So, and some of these roots just go on forever. So I just push it down in there, pull it up nicely, and it will give me the ability to get more of these roots out than I would be able to otherwise. And it takes a minute, yeah, it does. But I do want to have as many roots as possible out of this garden to keep to keep it as weed free as possible. And with the black fabric, it will be weed free, but there's not a guarantee that I'll keep the black fabric in here. I didn't like it in the garden as an application in the garden because the garden's just not smooth enough. It could have been if I'd have spent many more hours down there than I did. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to having just a nice kitchen garden. It will be herbs and different perennials. And I know I had mentioned this before, but let me go over this for you again. All right. If you look up on this hill right there, that first little post, that first little fence line that cuts back, let me see if I can point real carefully, right there, there will be a fence. The fence will be rebuilt from there, coming straight down to over in front of this tractor tongue. So let's just go over here. From this post, straight to that post. All right, that's going to be the new fence line. This gate will move to this spot right here. So there won't be anything right here. But when you come through the garden or through the driveway, the new drive area will cut right through here, and it will come up this direction where I'm walking and stay about 3 feet away from the fence, because there's going to be built raised beds between the fence and the driveway all the way around. It's going to be a big circular drive just to make it easy to get all these vehicles in and out. And then in these corners, you know, it's still going to be raised beds, but it's not going to be a solid raised bed right there. It will have, you know, several raised beds going back like a wagon wheel with pathways in between them. So the raised beds, I don't want them to be more than 2-3 feet wide at the most, probably 3 feet wide, and so that you can reach to the center from either side. And then we'll come on around this way, still staying, you know, about 2-3 feet away from the fence. And then it turns down right here. And right there in front of that little building is going to be our parking area. The truck will park on this side closest to the building, you know, leaving some walk space. But it will park right here. And that way when we bring home chicken feed and dog food and cat food and all those things, it'll be super easy just to unload it right there. The car will park right here next to it, and then swinging on out back up this driveway. I hate to show you guys what a mess this is. It is such a mess over here right now. But right here, and Hugh's been cutting my lumber to build my dog fence. My dog fence is going to be just wooden all the way around. That way the chickens can't get in, the dogs can't see out, the dogs can't get to the chickens, the cats can't get in there. Everything is safe. But right here at the edge of the porch, there will be a screened in area for the trash cans to sit in this little messy spot. But and then of course there's my clothesline. But so that makes it super easy just to pull back in. And that whole area in the middle that isn't driveway, and the driveway will have to be wide enough for the truck to easily maneuver, but the whole area that isn't driveway will be raised beds for perennials. It will be a beautiful, beautiful spot. There won't be any mowing because I plan on putting down the cardboard and the mulch, or the mulch on top of it, so that eventually there just won't be any weeds or grass or anything in between. And that will be just, I'm talking, girls, and guys, I'm probably talking, you know, a couple of years worth of work But fun work. I've been looking forward to doing that perennial garden over there. Any of you that have followed Aaron's channel for a while, and followed my channel for any while, you know I've talked about it forever. I will. Let's go let Pops through the gate again. But these things just all take a lot of time. But they will be, it's a one and done thing, which makes it actually doable. If it was something that had to be repeated every year, no, it would never ever happen. But the perennial garden, and it will be big. It will be a really, really large area. It will have everything from asparagus. It will have strawberries and the blueberries and raspberries, blackberries, all of those sorts of things will probably, hold on a minute, he's going to be loud for a minute. I think he said don't close it. What do you think? I don't know what he said. Poor little Chuck. Did you see him run? Okay, I know he said go ahead and close it. Alright, he must be going to stay in there for a while. Alright. Hold on. Okay, but anyway, you can see, I mean, that's such a big area. But it won't be totally perennials, because I am going to have a couple of beds that will be for things that need softer ground than we have here, like maybe some sweet potatoes, carrots, root vegetables like that just tend to struggle. But our lower garden, hopefully we'll have lots of compost to go in there, and so that it'd just be softer for the kidney bags for the potatoes. But anyway, and you can see how badly the house needs to be washed. So as soon as I finish cleaning out these beds, we will probably bring them, whatever that machine is that blows water really hard. It's sad getting old, and I don't think it's being old. I think that it is COVID brain, because my brain wasn't, I didn't struggle this much to find words before I had COVID. One of the 3 times I had COVID. But so I do think that it absolutely is a thing that messes with your memory. Hopefully that's not going to be a permanent situation, because I would like to have my memory back. There's words floating around in my head that I'd like to be able to use. Alright, and that little pile of wood over there is going to be used to build nesting boxes for the guineas' house, because we need more nesting boxes. And the chickens, they'll lay wherever they can find a nice soft bed. And the guineas have been laying too. The guineas are giving us some eggs, and the new little girls are giving us teeny tiny little eggs. I've shown them to you. They're still tiny. We are getting some white eggs for the first time, but that's our what are they called? The white chickens are leghorns, and they lay white eggs. So that's kind of fun, because I hadn't had a white egg since we used to buy them from the grocery store. So it's kind of sweet to have these little tiny white eggs nestled in among all the brown and blue eggs. But all right, girls, well, I am going to get back in this garden and start digging these weeds up and get ready for Hugh to bring me a shovel full of compost. When I get a bed ready and finished, I'll put out a short real quick so you can see what the finished looks like. But I love you much. I hope you're having an absolutely fabulous day. I am. I'm just glad that the weather is actually it's under 80 degrees. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to be able to stay out here a whole lot longer, but it's not horribly hot. So right now it's doable, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. But I hope that you are having a fabulous week, and I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.